Hello, this is Charles from the Deanery Project, and we're looking at starting seeds today. We have lots of different seeds in the world, and some of them come in seed packets, some don't. Some people give you, sometimes you find seeds, plants you like, and you collect the seeds. But mostly, you can just save seeds and then replant them. Like most seeds are that way, especially our cultivars, the seeds that we get our food from. Today we're making a seeding mix. So the mix that we're using is worm castings, coir, which is coconut fiber, and perlite. You also could use something like vermiculite. So these three things you can get at a garden store. You can go and you can get worm castings, you can get coir, you can get perlite. You can use potting soil, you can use what you have. If you have really dense soil, it can be harder. If you have soil that has any like blight in it, it can be harder on your seeds. So sometimes it's really nice to start with like fresh, clean soil. I like to make my own worm castings. So the worm castings give you nutrients, so all the nutrients your plants need, and also gives you a biological relationship. Your roots need to be able to uptake nutrients. So it's great for the seeds when they're starting. Worm castings are awesome. The perlite or the vermiculite, it's a stone, and it allows for drainage. So that's what keeps your plant from being waterlogged. So it allows there to be enough air in the mixture that really it decreases waterlogging. It's good for the seeds. And then the coir holds water, so it does the opposite of perlite. So it holds the water. So you have some things holding water and some things like draining water. So you get pockets of water and pockets of dry. So the moisture stays about right. And then you have the nutrients from the worm castings. That makes up our mix. But if all you had is potting soil, that'll work too. You plant your seed in your soil, whether it's a flat, which is like a tub of soil, whether it's pots, whether it's big pots or small pots. You plant your seeds, and the first thing is they want to have moisture so that the seed will swell, break the seed coat, put its roots down. It prefers bottom heat, so almost all seeds to germinate need warmth. So if you're too cold where you are, like you put it in a place in your house or that is too cold, you'll find the germination is really slow. So bottom heat is the best, like heat coming from the bottom of the tray, or just a warm space. Before it kind of sprouts up and puts its leaves out, it doesn't need light, it just needs to be warm. But as soon as it comes up, those little leaves are going to want to start to photosynthesize, so it gets more food. And then you can let them grow. After they grow, they're going to first put up what they call their coddle leaves. Most, like if you see a bean plant come up, it'll put up two little leaves that later on they'll fall off, but they don't look like any of the other leaves, like the first two leaves. If it's something like a corn, it's a monocot, it'll put up one leaf, and that'll fall off, and the other leaves will come. So once those first couple leaves come up, and then the true leaves come out, once your true leaves come out, you can start to transplant at that time. You can prick them out. You can like pull out the itty bitty one and plant it in something bigger, or you can just wait. Like the pots that we demoed here are fairly large pots. I'm not going to need to transplant those likely at all, because by the time these plants get big enough to need to transplant, which is that roots have taken up the pot and they're starting to hit the edges of the pot and the bottom of the pot and are starting to curl around, like at that point, it'll be warm enough to plant them outside. But like the ones I started a month ago, I've transplanted them twice. They grew, got big enough for the pot. I took them out of the pot. I transplanted them. They grew, got so big out of that pot, I put them in another pot. So once the roots kind of like start to hit the pot edges and curl around and fill up the space, it's about time to transplant. Because this is dry, you're going to need a little more water because the coir is going to soak it all up the first time. And really, in this potting mix, because it drains so well, it's hard to overwater them. It'll run at the bottom. But you want to keep them damp, like a running out sponge. Like that's how you know the soil's right. Plant them, keep them damp, and not so damp that you're going to drown them. So you don't want waterlogged soil, and you don't want it dry because they won't grow. So wrung out sponge is what you're shooting for. So if your soil is like damp but not drippy, you're good. There we go.